I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way.
So I guess it's just more bringing out more and more about the profound effects of this, and so I think people need to see that this is a wonderful thing, a beautiful thing, and it's not taking away. If anything, it's you're gaining so much in your heart and your soul and your mind and strength, courage. Your compassion opens up, like you said, new doors, and then you look through another door and another door, and it sparks off a growth in our potential as a human being that otherwise it appears not to happen. And most people, they stick with their routines and their addictions, and you can see they just deteriorate slowly but surely. Their thinking gets smaller and smaller, and then they get older and more fearful, and they just sort of shrivel away and pass away off this planet. Whereas I feel this journey is affording the opposite, the opportunity to grow right throughout your entire life and to keep becoming wiser and bigger and stronger and all that kind of thing. So I guess maybe I'll just chuck in there a question then, rather than trying to work out what we were talking about. So with your family, obviously they've jumped in on board with you. That must make a big difference, because quite often I hear it's the opposite, where someone feels completely isolated and no one else wants to hear about what's going on. How was it that your whole family kind of united in this, facing the truth of what's going on?
When I say my whole family, my son, who is 20, he isn't vegan.
Right.
I would love for him to be. He did actually say to me the other day, which was really amazing. We were out, and the week before he'd gone to the zoo, and he knows I'm so anti-zoos. And he said, you know what, Mum? He went with his girlfriend and took the niece and nephew, and he said, you know what, Mum? I was in the zoo and I was listening to your words. And he said, you know what, Mum? They are prisons. He said, I never realised. He said, and all I could hear you saying is, Mum, they're prisons. He said, I've been thinking more and more and more, I have to start making changes to my life too. So you never know what you say to people, when they are going to have those light bulb moments. And
That's
for him,
right.
he was watching the lion pace in the little cage, and he said, I felt so sorry for him, Mum. He's in this little cage and he's just pacing. I said, it's dreadful. I said it leads them to, mentally, how it affects them. It's just horrible. You think how we would feel in this little 4x4 cage, pacing by yourself. They're lonely as lonely. And when they're supposed to be in these huge jungles. And he said, yes, I know. So that's, fingers crossed, that's my dream, is to get my son there as well.
Yeah.
But for my partner and my daughter, well, my daughter has been an ultimate animal lover, probably similar to your story, her whole life. She's from age 3, when she's been able to talk, she's always said she wants to do something with dogs or animals or, everything. It's always been around animals. And she's doing a traineeship at present it's a force-free dog daycare centre, and she loves it there with all her dogs and whatever, and she's studying animals, doing animal studies. So she was the one who pushed in the earthling. So for her, she was ready to sort of make that change.
Yeah.
And I was more on the nutrition point of view, no connection at this point in time with the animals. I'm very lucky I have a supportive partner, and he has seen me go through a million transformations with different health and nutrition over the years, and he tends to go along for the ride. He has, however, he's always loved animals. He grew up with horses and whatever, but never thought anything of he grew up with his family being horse trainers, but never had any thought to the cruelty sort of side of it. And it's amazing for somebody like him who grew up with, racing and all that kind of thing. For him, when all that stuff came out about the greyhound industry and everything, he shut it all out of his life. He said, you know what, I can't stand this. It's just everywhere. So for him, it's been a big awakening too. And I think I'm so lucky And even my daughter says the same because she's only just turned 18. She was 15 and a half when she went vegan. She had kids film her food like she was some sort of weirdo at school. So that was a big thing, you know. And luckily she's strong. You know, they were sitting there with their pies, parties, junk food, whatever, and she was sitting there with a beautiful dish. You know how lovely vegan food is. And it had all salad and it was all nutritious. And she said, you know what, guys, you can film me, you can ridicule me, but I'm eating healthy food and I'm not contributing to any animal cruelty. And I was so proud of her when she came home and told me that.
Yes.
And that's a huge thing for, you know, a teenager to go through. I mean, bullying is horrible. And she has stood so firm with her ground. And she's recently just started a YouTube channel where she's just promoting what she eats and what vegans do in a day and that sort of thing. So I'm very proud of her and her commitment to her vegan life. She always brings animal liberation books into her staff room at work. She's had a couple of friends become vegan, like just through her and her little postings. And she never puts anything harsh in your face. She just puts little, you know, subtle things on her Facebook page and, you know, subtly, you know, just shows the different food and whatever she has. So she, you know, in her way, she's making her difference. And bit by bit, I think she's going to become bigger and bigger in what she's doing. She's now started to attend a few protests and stuff like that too. So she's really starting to delve into the vegan community. And I think that having your family so involved in it, when for me, I just immersed myself into vegan living. To me, there was no other way to live. Once I knew the truth, I just said, this is the way to live. I devote my life to veganism. I run my social media pages. I run food and nutrition pages, you know, on social media to help people to be able to change their diets. I mean, that really is the biggest thing for people, changing the diet. I mean, you know, people can change their shoes, you can change your clothes, those kind of things, but actually changing your whole dietary is a big thing for people because they say, what are you going to eat? And they have this expectation that it's just going to be lettuce and carrots, and they don't realize there's this whole world of different cuisines and there's nothing that you can't have. So I'm very, very blessed. I have my family involved. I've worked with many people who don't have their family supporting them, and I think it's extremely hard. I think for me, being an adult, though, it's a lot easier. I think for teenagers, and more teenagers are moving into this lifestyle, I believe, than my generation plus. It's, you know, the 18 to 25-year-olds are just amazing. They're just coming through. They're opening their eyes. They're just saying, yes, we just don't want to be a part of this, which is fabulous. But them not having support of their families must be so hard because, I mean, my daughter knows now how to make all her own food, but when she was 15 and a half, she didn't have that opportunity. She didn't have parents, you know, she didn't know. So she had me teaching her, look, you know, let's have this, let's have that and whatever. And having the opportunity to have a mother supporting her is a big difference to those kids that don't and have parents saying, you're going to die if you eat this way, you know, the talk that people have. So for her, she's been very lucky and she's really realised that as she's watched other friends get very stressed because they've wanted to change their lifestyle and their parents are saying it's too expensive or it's this or, you know, the typical reactions of a lot of people in society when they don't understand this lifestyle.
Can see all obstacles in my way.